Welcome back to the regular meetings of the Plan and Design Commission. So I'll call the meeting to order at whatever, 7:04 p.m. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Incheck.
Here.
Commissioner Fettner. Commissioner Nanis.
Here.
Commissioner Henry.
Here.
Commissioner Mantis.
Here.
Vice Chair Kirsch.
Present.
Chair Moore.
Present.
We have a quorum, Madam Chair.
All right, wonderful. The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from way back November 4th. Does anybody, can I get a motion? Motion to approve. Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Any comments on those minutes? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? No nays, any abstentions? No abstentions. Okay, so the approval of the minutes from November 4th is complete. Okay, so our only item of scheduled business is a public hearing, PUD-2025-00079, for a special use permit in the nature of a final plan development with modifications from city code and design review and final plat of consolidation with variances from city code at 734 Central Avenue. So I will read out the public hearing opening statement. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Highland Park Plan and Design Commission. My name is Karen Moore. A quorum of the Plan and Design Commission being present, the members of this Plan and Design Commission will now introduce themselves for the record from my right.
Kristen Incheck.
Josh Nanis.
Danny Mantis.
Steve Kirch. Ken Henry.
The Plan and Design Commission is charged with hearing applications for rezonings, plan developments, and subdivisions under the zoning ordinance and subdivision regulations of the City of Highland Park. In all matters, we recommend to the City Council based upon the testimony presented to us in the hearing. We are required to decide cases within 45 days after receipt of the transcript. All testimony is under oath. Both applicants and others who wish to speak on a particular case should present specific evidence as to why a proposal meets or fails to meet the standards for the relief requested. For clarity of our record, only one person at a time will speak and all questions will be directed through the chair. We ask that you make every effort to not be repetitive in your testimony. Finally, we will make every effort to adhere to the schedule prepared. For tonight's hearing, if additional time is needed on a matter, it will be continued until the next available agenda. With that, I open the floor for the staff to the Plan and Design Commission to read into the record proof of publication and ownership.
Proof of publication and ownership are available for viewing at the Offices of Community Development, 1150 Half Day Road in Highland Park. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All righty. Mr. Burhop, are you presenting to us?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Good evening, everybody. Okay, my name is Carl Burhop. I'm a senior planner with the City of Highland Park in the Planning Division in the Community Development Department. So this evening, it's for 734 Central Avenue. It's the final plat to consolidate the property, the final plan development, the final design review, and then the modifications from city code that are requested thereof. This is the site. It's on Central Avenue to the west of downtown. Staff recommend the commission consider those three requests that I just listed off. This is a public hearing this evening. So open the public hearing and take testimony when that time approaches, and when ready, make recommendation to the city council. So the project, so it's an 11 proposed residential units in a 6-story building. It's a multiple family land use. First floor parking garage, second through fifth floor are residential. The 6th floor has roof access and structures, and there's one inclusionary unit in this. Background, real quick. I should have reversed those. So the commission considered this at the preliminary phase on February 4th, March 18th, and April 15th, and those were public hearings. On April 15th, the commission recommended 4-0 to approve with some comments, and I had those, of course, in the staff report. And then this went to the city council. It had 2 meetings at the city council on May 12th and on May 27th. And the council granted the preliminary approval, and I included that resolution as evidence of that in the packet by a vote of 6-1. And so what are the changes? So they're in for final now, what are the changes? So the one substantial change, which has triggered the public hearing component, there's additional bulk on the 6th floor, and I have some slides on that to explain that. Basically, there's an expansion of the proposed rooftop penthouses for the 2 residential units. Staff has advised the applicant that they should provide the square foot and dimension changes for the commission to consider that. There were various minor changes that don't trigger the public hearing, but just want to make the commission aware. There was a reduction of 1 parking space in the 1st floor parking garage. It still complies with the parking requirements. They had 2 to give, and they eliminated 1. And the commission may recall, when this was considered half a year ago or whenever, the commission did have comments and concerns about maneuverability in that 1st floor. In fact, the applicant even provided a diagram of maneuverability based on those comments. And if you had a chance to see the floor plans in the packet, you can see there was 1 spot that was removed and they had an ADA accessible spot in there. Also, I noticed that they added additional shrubs, more shrubs on the west side of the building along McGovern. Okay, so this compares the 2 site plans. The site plans, I mean, are essentially the same. The only difference I noted was that there's additional 3 or 4 shrubs here. Otherwise, the site plan, the 2-dimensional site plan is essentially the same. Okay, the rooftop. So I will try to explain this. So on the left, you have from May, the preliminary. So you have an elevator bulkhead, and that's essentially the same. And then you have stairwell access and stairwell access. So there's residential units below those, and so that's like stairwell access to the roof. And so those are essentially the same. I'm not saying they're like 100% with the dimensions, they may be, but that's essentially the same. But the difference is, you can see there's like an expansion of the residential unit, like this penthouse there, and an expansion of the residential unit of the penthouse there. And in part, that is to accommodate ADA accessibility. I believe the applicant included some notation there on possible future, some type of lift for accessibility for those residential units. And then you can tell that the pergola structures changed locations. And again, staff had indicated to the applicant they should be ready with the dimension numbers if the commission needs to know that, but that at least gives you the visual of what's changed. And then this is the elevation comparison. So on the left, you have from back in May, and then on the right, you have what's now, what is before the commission. And so you can kind of tell what's changed. So you just see, so I think I have 2 of these, though I can pull up anything the commission wants to see. I can pull up the whole packet. But so I have the 2 that are visible from the street. So this is from Central Avenue, the north facade. And then this next one I have, this is from the west, which faces McGovern. And on this one, you can kind of tell the pergola change location. And then, you know, the final plans tend to be more refined. So you're getting a better visual of like the windows. You know, you can see the windows up there. And also there's either a door or a window there as opposed to how it's changed from there. But that's just better refining and fine tuning of the plans as they get ready for permit submittal. I do want to point out the materials. I do put it to the applicant to verify that the renderings from preliminary are still accurate or if they've changed how. I did go through and just list, these are not all of them, but these are the ones that I thought were the highlights, but there were others. I will note that stucco color, it says colored by the architect, so I put that to the commission to ask the applicant's team what color that will be. And so that refers to the stucco up here on the rooftop structure. And then this is what the commission had looked at back in, well, actually May would be the council, but you looked at essentially the same thing. And I believe that it was even a comment from one of the commissioners on what that color was going to be on the top. So then these just discuss the other materials. Again, there's actually a longer list that the commission wanted me to. Again, I can pull that specific specification sheet up and zoom in on it and go through it. This just points out the materials for the facade and that rooftop. Other items, this was all in the staff report. The material stuff, I just had a chance to look at that between today and yesterday, so that wasn't in the staff report, though the applicant's plan obviously was that listed those. And then this was just from the staff report. The applicant just verified the exterior lightings are the same, that it's still, the exhibit, whatever, I think E it might have been in the resolution. Then the applicant should verify if there are any other changes have been made. For modifications, again, the only change, it gets to the fact that there's more bulk on the 6th floor. So it's not that they're going higher, they're not asking for more height or more stories. The height in the stories that was reviewed by the commission is the same. The difference is that it's like a volume, an expansion of bulk at that height that's not allowed. Are there questions on that? So yeah, that's the only change for the height, or for the height modification. Otherwise, it's the same. The traffic vision request is the same. The relief for no shade ornamental trees is the same. They actually added the shrubs, like I pointed out. These are all the same. This gets to the, there's a parking limit within the front 40 feet. There's the 15-foot setback from the building to the east as Rosero's proposed. That was discussed in preliminary. That hasn't changed. The exterior lighting, I will point out, as I was looking through my notes, when this left commission, there was an exterior lighting packet before the commission, but it seemed to me there were still maybe some tweaks being made. But there was an exhibit before the commission at your final meeting. And so then that exhibit ended up going to council, and the council did look at it and did include in the council's relief for specific foot candle relief, and those are just at the entrances. It was also pointed out at the council meeting that, you know, there's street lights there as well, washing onto the property. Yeah, and so none of those have changed, or at least from the resolution that went to council. And I don't think from the commission's last meeting, other than the fine tuning on the lighting. Yeah, so this is all the same. Again, I just point out the change to the bulk on the height, which again is a bulk volume issue, not asking for any higher. Subdivision is technically new. They didn't submit the subdivision with preliminary, which was fine, but now the final plat is here. It's a consolidation. You know, consolidations of four-sided properties are usually straightforward. And I actually thought to myself, there might not be any relief with this. It's just a regular four-sided lot. But, you know, we go through everything. That's our job. And technically, it doesn't meet the 125-foot depth. I will point out to the commission, now, this is the pre-existing site, is that. So it's not like they're asking for more. That just acknowledges what the existing site is. Public benefit, the applicant proposes the cash donation of $15,000 to the Downtown Streetscape Improvement Fund. That was also the public benefit that was recognized in the resolution that the city council adopted in May. Parking reduction. The applicant did request a 15% off-street parking reduction based on proximity to transit. The resolution acknowledged that. I just point out that they're going down to 20. Actually, it must, well, if I read that, it must have already been 20 minutes. I'd have to double check that. But I know it's one space less than what they had with commission. But it still complies with the requirement. The inclusionary zoning, there are no changes to that. Housing Commission recommended approval on April 2nd. The preliminary resolution approved that plan as Exhibit F that was in that. Okay, I believe this is my last slide. So the commission may recommend approval with conditions, denial, or continue to a future meeting. The applicant at their risk did ask for findings of fact, and so staff did provide those. I had those in the packet. I had a red line version that showed how I changed it, as well as a clean version. And then I just will note the following, and I do want to put out, or I do want to state, these conditions are not in the findings of fact. So if the commission wants to move forward with a recommendation to adopt the findings of fact, staff would ask that you consider in the motion just amending to have these three. And these were three things that I just plucked out from the council report and from the resolution from May. The applicant does need to demonstrate that the rooftop mechanical equipment, and that's where the mechanical equipment is located, it's on the rooftop, is screened behind the parapet or wall, and will also comply with the Article 6 performance standards, which gets to the noise or sound generated from them. Provide brick paver sidewalks as required for the downtown streetscape program. The applicant had indicated in May they would do that, and I have not heard otherwise. And then provide the bicycle parking. So there was bicycle parking depicted in May, and I don't know if the fine tuning of the plans, maybe that was just left off, but then, I mean, there are storage spaces indicated. And so staff would just recommend that those spaces be put back in there as the commission had recommended it back in, when was yours, April? The commission was April, yeah, just as the commission had recommended those. So those are the staff comments. I can take questions if any, or pull up anything from the packet if the commission desires.
Does anybody from the commission have a question for staff? Yeah, Commissioner Mantis has a question.
So on the additional bulk on the 6-story, so there's height relief that's being requested, right? Technically, the building as proposed would not otherwise accommodate with the existing zoning would not accommodate 5 stories. So we considered 5 stories, whereas it should have been 4 per the underlying zoning.
That's right.
And so now we're going up to a 6-story, which we had already approved in the preliminary. And now we're adding additional bulk. Even though they're not going any higher, we're granting height relief. Is that additional bulk considered additional relief then?
Yes, that's why staff determined this was a public hearing, because when the commission makes a recommendation or the council makes an approval, unless otherwise stated, it's usually very specific, both in terms of dimensions and also to the plans. And so in this case, again, it's not that they're going higher, they're not asking for additional stories or additional height. That's all the same as what you reviewed. What's changed is it's just more bulk on that roof. It's just more six floor structures. Or rather large, I shouldn't say more, I should say rather larger or expanded 6-floor structures. And I do want to also pull up, I did receive from the applicant this afternoon, updated renderings. So I just got these afternoon. And I was just going to put these up and just go through them really quick. The applicant also submitted materials today to respond to the engineering division comments. Yeah, those comments, I mean, they have to be met, but they're not red flag comments.
Did any of those include the dimensions for those areas up on the 6th floor?
I did not see that in the materials submitted today by the applicant, no.
Okay. So how do we know that that won't change between what we approve now and what actually gets built?
Well, in terms of that, well, when staff asked for the dimensions, we were asking for the square foot dimension so that the commission would be able to chew on. This was the area that was on there back in May. This is the area on there now. But in terms of other dimensions, just in terms of how they're building it and all, those types of dimensions are in the various plans.
Okay, so we're not getting the percentage
Correct.
increase of the square foot of the 6th floor?
Correct, that is the number that staff wanted the applicant to provide.
Okay. Any more commission questions? Commission questions? All right, would the applicant like to come up and speak?
Good evening. Happy holidays. For the record, my name is Cal Bernstein. I'm the attorney for the applicant. And since this is a new public hearing, I don't know if we have to be resworn. So I think there's going to be 2 people speaking. So if you, Nate, you want to come up and so we get sworn together then.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, and
And-
before your colleague speaks, he'll need to give us his name
Sure.
and
So
spell the last
Nate, why
name.
don't you introduce yourself? Nate Kipnis.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairman. Okay, so this is really, we're here tonight to discuss the additional bulk on the 6th floor. That's what's triggered the new public hearing. Otherwise, the plan is substantially conforms with what you saw back in April and the council approved in May. I just wanted to give a little more context to the height relief that was previously given before I turn it over to Nate, because it's really his show tonight, and just describe why he made the changes that we're seeking relief from tonight. If you recall, this property is actually zoned B45, and which allows 5 stories. And what happened was, because this lot was undersized, that as a result of the fact that it was being undersized, the B44 height requirements applied, which only allowed for 4 stories. So as we noted back in the spring, is that the properties surrounding this next door are actually B45 properties. So you could build 5 stories there. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what I believe what the PDC and the city council thought of back then is that just the site context would allow the 5 stories, because this is actually zone B45. It's just an anomaly that B45 zoning doesn't apply to this property because it was undersized. But because other property around it was B45 and allowed for 5 stories, that the relief, both the PDC recommended and the council eventually approved back in May, the 5th story. So the 6th story was a different story, because that is a different issue, because we were trying to activate the rooftop to allow that to be open space to be used. And Nate's going to describe as the project evolved, because you don't see a lot of these 2-stage developments. I mean, usually people come in here for preliminary and final at the same time. The difference is that once we get the preliminary approval back in the spring, we went through and got the final engineering and see how everything lays out, which has required us, after considering all that, to come in for additional relief. And Nate, I'm going to turn it over to you unless there's any questions on the underlying height variance variance that was given back in the spring. If you have any questions on that, I can answer it now. Otherwise, I'll turn it over to Nate, and he can describe why he made the change on the rooftop that we're seeking relief from tonight. Hearing none, I'll turn it over to Nate.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, just to make sure that we're all stay organized, the staff report.
Actually, on the other side.
Senior planner did an excellent job going through the planning comments, and they're on page 2 of the staff report. And I've asked Nate to go through, it's really 1 through 5 are the ones that we're talking about tonight. 6, 7, and 8 do not really apply to the consideration tonight. But I'll let Nate go down the list, 1 through 5. Nate, I'm promising something, so don't.
Well, give us one.
Wait, one moment here. Just, I've never done this.
Okay. No pressure, Carl.
I don't even know what to do.
It worked just one before, but maybe.
Here's the
No, so I'm moving the settings.
Was that Vic I hear running up? Vic, do you know how to, is there any way he can connect to this computer to do a presentation? How do I turn it?
Okay, so
Back.
then we gotta get, I gotta do this on my mirroring. So this would be, ooh, I don't know what that is. That would be. Oh, here we go.
What's that, you'll come back up? Okay, that means he should go over his presentation. Okay.
Great content for the YouTube live stream.
Don't turn on the stops.
Hey, so what are we doing?
Well,
Just give me one.
He's just trying to, yeah, just the applicant's design professional is trying to bring up his presentation to give to the commission.
Well, it would be good if we could do this. Let's see. Boy, I am not gonna, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get that.
Do you have an alternative, like a jump drive or email it to me?
Yeah, let's do that. So I wanted to answer, so we should go back. Can you come back out here and?
Well, we can just maybe unplug it, I don't know. Or not.
Oh, wait a minute. Well, not critical that we view this. I think the image that you had, the 3D, if you can, I don't know how, but if you can get that back.
Okay.
But the question, I know there was a question on the size of what's up on the penthouse.
Could you go through the list?
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, so there's a list with 11 items on it. And the first one is about the rooftop mechanical units. The rooftop units are under 42 inches tall. They're like in the low 30s to 36 inches. The parapet's 42 inches tall. So that is not going to be visible at all from anywhere. And frankly, the sound is just going to go straight up. It's not going to go outward. There was a question about accessible parking and rooftop access, so two parts to the handicap. We do have one handicap accessible parking spot. We did lose one spot based on when we got the structure actually in the garage. It ended up that we just lost one, but we still have, like Carl said, one additional beyond what's required. For the rooftop access, we were questioned about handicap accessibility. There's 2 units on the 5th floor. Each one has a private stair that goes up. And so in our mind, it didn't need to have handicap accessibility. We talked to the Illinois Capital Development Board, and they said as long as we provided the ability for a unit to put their own elevator in. So we did do that. There's a closet in each of those 5th floor units, and directly above it is into that penthouse space. The framing is boxed out so that can be easily done in the future. And I have a letter from her, and basically she said if you meet the requirements of this specific section, you know, if accessibility to 2nd floor, meaning the 2nd floor of the 5th floor unit, can be provided by the owner by installation of a LULA, a limited use, limited application elevator, or a private residence elevator, or a platform complying with this certain code, then you should be in substantial compliance with this handicap section. So we are providing that ability to do that. The next item is about the brick pavers, and actually, and that's on the sidewalk. And we had actually found a document from 2016. We went hunting around for this, and it shows that our property, in fact, stays existing and does not need the brick. So whatever staff says, we will do. But the most current document that we could find showed that it stays concrete. On McGovern House, there's a section of it that is brick, and then it stops and it goes back to concrete. And they're in the same area we are, the same map designation. So I'm not clear on that, but whatever staff says, we will comply with. The bicycle parking, there are 13 spaces in the garage for that. So that, that meets that requirement. So the reason that the penthouse issue is here up on the 6th floor. Originally, we just had the stairs come up to essentially what we call a doghouse, just to get access to the roof. And after looking at it, we're like, well, if we're going to all this effort, why don't we make a small room up there? And so I can give you the dimensions of that and the area of that. So one of them has an area, this is outside to outside wall, 339.7 square feet, and the other is 348 square feet. There's a small mechanical room in that space and a small closet, so the usable space is less than that. If you have any questions on that, but it's not a very big room, but it's like a little den, and then there's trellises out there for them to utilize the deck with. Then the next question is, about the pergolas up there. There were changes to the roof deck. Do you have an exhibit that better shows how it's enlarged? And that would be what I'm discussing right now. And it didn't impact the setbacks.
I think Director Fontaine had a quick question about the structures up there.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the rooms that you're creating, that includes sufficient room for that lift, that elevator?
Oh, yeah.
Should it be desired to
Oh,
be
yeah.
included? Okay.
Yeah, Carl, I can go ahead and email you this.
Okay, so it has a mechanical room, a small closet, and room for the elevator,
Yeah,
as well as a staircase.
yeah, there's,
Okay. So
yeah,
there's
and I should
not
also.
much of a room, then it's got these other things that it's really just an access point.
Right, so I forgot to mention,
Yeah.
obviously, the stair is coming up in there too. So
Right.
the usable area is, the size of a den in a house. It's not very large. It's not small, but it's not very large.
Okay. Okay, and then the other question that you had was with regard to the pavers. We want the pavers along Central, and to the extent that they go along McGovern to complement and to mirror what's across the street at McGovern House.
Well, and can I add on
Yep.
paper? If I can also add on that, and I just sent, the applicant asked me to provide a link to the city planner document related to the pavers, and I just sent that to them earlier today, so if they hadn't had a chance to review. But what I pull from is the design guidelines, which is a 2018 documents for the downtown design guidelines, and on page 21, it talks about pavers for the streetscape, and it says either Yankee Hill brick charcoal paver or Yankee Hill brick flash manganese paver. So, that's the reference I would reference to for the pavers.
Okay, the next one is, are the renderings the same? So I'm gonna point out one change on the exterior. If you notice the corner balconies with the glass railings, capping that is a similar metal roof structure. It's just a metal band and it's white underneath it. That was a cornice before, and as we were looking at it, it just looked like it was defying logical gravity. I mean, we could make it work, but it visually didn't make sense. This is the only change to the exterior, is that upper canopy over the upper deck on each of the three sides.
Oh, are you referring to?
Oh, yeah, right there. So that used to be limestone like this was, and it just didn't look right. So that is the only real change that we did. Then is the lighting still as approved? And yes, and I think that nighttime rendering shows that pretty well. The landscaping, this is item 9, the landscaping is the same except we increased these little hydrangeas on the west side, that is correct. Asked again about the parking spot that was lost, yes, we're down to 20. And then the last question that came to us was, are there gonna be above grade utilities? No, everything is buried. So that is the bulk of the questions. Or that is all of the questions. And if there's any questions from you, then be happy to answer them.
Any more questions for the applicant? Oh, down here. Commissioner Imchek.
The space that's on the roof, is that all accessible to all of the tenants of the building or just the penthouse?
Just the penthouse, and that would, if it became part of the whole building, then there's a whole accessibility question. There'd be an elevator that would be required to go up there. The access in a fire, they can use the common stair that goes up, but the stair going out is locked. Only the maintenance people can get up there. Otherwise, the units just go up and down within their own. And there's just the two of them. They're private decks, private stairs.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Hernandez has a question.
Excuse me. You said that there's 11 bike parking.
13.
13. Can you, I just having a hard time finding them in the architectural renderings. Do you mind pulling them up and pointing them out to where they are?
You have the garage.
Oh, what?
You got the gremlins tonight.
That should absolutely open. This is just the packet. Okay, bear with me. I'll get it open. There we go.
Yeah, so if you scroll down, keep going. Keep going. Okay, right there. So they are located,
Oh, go ahead, sir.
they're located right here, and there's 13 across that. So
Got
this
it.
is the storage room there.
Thank you.
Oh, it does say that there is a notation.
Yeah.
Says, I think that says DERO, track rack, wall-mounted bike storage system, 8 feet, 13 bike capacity. There you go. I missed the fine print. They are on there.
Does that particular storage area also serve as extra storage for people's units, or is it only for bikes?
So you can see the rectangles in here. Those are individual storage lockers for the
Okay.
11 units. And then the space beyond up here is where the bikes would go.
Oh, I see, okay. Okay, any more questions? Did you have a question, Mr. Mantis?
I lost it. I apologize.
Sorry.
You have to strike one of the irons out with me.
I was getting give everyone their turn. Okay, any more questions for the client? Any more discussion items? Okay, oh, sorry, go ahead, Vice Chair Kirch.
So the added bulk creates a bigger, in a sense, requirement of variance, right? So that should be offset by more public benefit, right?
That's a good point.
So I mean, I don't know it's kind of hard to decide how much more public benefit without knowing how much more
Space.
percentage-wise
Right.
space we're talking about.
Sure. That's
But
also-
I mean, here's my immediate suggestion. It's, those brick pavers seem to be an issue of some sort. Those might make, if they're not required, they might make an acceptable additional public benefit.
Agreed, especially if they do them on both sidewalks.
Yeah.
Because they would have to, is that correct? They'd have to match the length of the sidewalk matching the McGovern house across the street, right?
Well, that's what,
Can you bring up,
that's what
Google Maps?
we were saying
McGovern?
to the applicant in that way. And downtown, the public benefits, sidewalk improvements are an important part, and we can look that up. Hold on a second. Because it's not just concrete, it's the
So-
pavers.
Go ahead.
Also, with regards to the public benefit, it depends on what the impact of the relief is. I mean, if we can't actually see the change that they made up there, it is a technically larger, but is it visible?
Right.
I mean,
Just a question.
regardless, I mean, it can't, I mean, if Nate was up speaking, you won't be able to see the additional bulk from the street. However, you know, if, we're fine with putting additional pavers on, along Central Avenue, try to match it up with McGovern House. I mean, and we would offer that as additional public benefit. So I just want to point out, there's brick on the sidewalk, but this is the McGovern side right here. And if you see,
It just stops.
it stops right there. So I just want to point that out.
Which is what I said, so just to match the across the street.
Yeah, we can match it. Yeah.
But then
Yeah,
along Central Avenue, we want the brick.
Along Central, it's all on McGovern as well. Yes, it's all brick.
But on McGovern, I think we're just saying there,
I mean, on
right there, that
Central.
it stops partway down the lot.
Yes.
That's correct, to match, to mirror across the way, that's
Yeah.
how we'd prefer it, yeah.
Okay.
Then extending further than that, you know, our goal is to have it, Central Avenue is the main focus, and then those kind of end caps going down McGovern, but not all the way.
Commissioner Mantis, you've thought of your question?
Not a question. I mean, I have discomfort with the additional bulk. I wasn't crazy about when it was first proposed and there was going to be elevator access through the main elevator. I think it was originally proposed that that main elevator was going to go all the way up and only the 5th floor units were going to have access to the rooftop from that elevator. And I think we lowered it so that that capped out below the parapet. I feel like now that we're adding additional bulk on the 6th floor, it's a lot of relief. And I don't know that I'm comfortable with just more brick pavers.
And while I understand that we can't see the relief from the street, it's you know, the point is that it's there and that it's an additional step beyond the relief we already gave, which some of us are a little uncomfortable with as well.
Just point of clarification, the brick pavers have always been required for this project.
Okay.
This isn't something new or being introduced, that's
Right,
what
just
I'm saying, okay.
just on Central or on?
The specification of those brick pavers will need to be to city standards, and we need to work with the applicant to make sure we provide those to them, and there might be some confusion there, but McGovern House, although similar, isn't quite what the city standard is at this point, so we'll take care of that. We just did Second Street, we have construction documents, as you know, we did the
On this, I'm not sure. but
brick pavers
it's a
along
total of
the east
687, and it was
side of that
probably like
street.
200 and something.
So I just wanted to make clear on that, and staff isn't looking for additional brick paving beyond mirroring what McGovern House has for
Okay.
the aesthetic
So we
appeal of
can't
that.
call that a public benefit?
No, it is a public benefit, what they're doing in terms of the brick pavers. It
Okay.
is. It's that we do want those, and they had agreed to them. And so public benefits provided by street shape improvements are listed as public benefits. So that is a public benefit, and we do want that, and we did want it during the preliminary.
Okay,
So,
We just don't want any additional down that street. We want to mirror it for the
Right,
look, the
understood.
aesthetic appeal. That's, I wouldn't want to see that happen necessarily because of the.
We have the calculations on the additional square footage. and so-
Okay.
so
well, I mean, it's the total up there, outside dimensions, is 687.7 square feet. I think it was probably 125 or 150 square feet before for just the stairs for each one. So it's, you know, the delta on that, if I call it 300, you know, it's about 400 extra square feet, about 200 per unit.
so it's roughly increasing in size by what, 200%?
Well,
My calculator.
Oh, no math.
yeah, wow, yeah, it's a little late evening for
Like,
that.
geez, man.
Be a triple or quadruple, actually.
Yeah.
We're gonna have the calculation.
Yeah, I mean, and again, in the room, there's this room for the mechanical, there's room for a closet, like the actual usable square feet is not that large. Can you bring that?
You want
So,
the-
hey,
Just so we're clear, so the additional space in the penthouse, we're calling them penthouses, part of that was for ADA accessibility, correct?
There's a box out.
Yes, which creates for the elevator, which additional space.
Box out there and there for the future elevator.
Okay, what about the stairs?
And then here's the stairs here, and then there's the mechanical.
The mechanics, so what was there before and what's there now?
Before, was just really the stair coming up, right?
So you have mechanicals and then you have the box out for the elevator.
So it's this area clear right here. Again, it's not a very large room.
So what's the usable square footage? That's what they're asking for.
No, I don't think we're asking for the usable square footage, because we're not seeing, from the outside, you're not seeing what's interior, you know, we're trying to get to the full bulk change. What is the,
Okay, so-
I could ask for the volume change if we knew the height.
What Nate has told us is that it's about 200 square feet or 225 square foot per unit. So it's a total of 450. But again, not all that's usable square footage. Some of it's for mechanical, some of it's for the box up for the potential for building an elevator. So in connection, we understand and we realize that that's additional relief. And so we're prepared tonight to offer, and because I'm going to hear that the brick pavers were part of the project all along, is that we'll increase the public benefit from the contribution of $15,000 to $20,000.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please do.
Where were the mechanicals in the original plan?
I'm pulling up the original set.
They were upstairs?
Well, there's mechanicals on the 5th floor, and I'm just not sure if they were also on the 6th floor at that point. They may not have
Seeing
been.
them on the 6th floor, so it seems like it was a convenient move to the 6th floor that we're now saying is not usable square footage.
Yeah,
Well, what I have up here is the rooftop plan that was in the resolution that the city council adopted in May. So it doesn't give the interior,
Right.
yeah.
So those AC units that we're looking at there, are those actually on the 6th floor or those on the 5th floor, and we're not?
no, those are on the 6th floor.
Okay. Okay.
My question was specifically about the mechanicals that are
Yeah,
shown within the
so-
doghouses for those
There-
5th floor units.
There was no mechanical in the dog houses. Sorry for the
So
confusion.
that's a new
Yes,
change. That was my point. Thank you for clarifying.
just, you have a separate floor. At this level, you have mechanical on each floor. You're not going to have one and have thermal gradients in there. You're going to want to have your own mechanical for that. Very small unit, but still correct. It's to heat these units. There was not one when it was just the stair.
Director Fontaine?
So if you could go back, you have units on the roof as well. So you're saying for these units that have the 2-floor unit, they would have their mechanicals within that.
So we're talking about two different things. One are the condensers that every mechanical system has. Those are all on the roof. So there's a set towards the front, there's a set towards the back. They're only this tall.
Right.
The parapet's this high. The actual furnaces that handle, the air handlers, they're within the unit. So in this 5th floor duplex, they're on the 5th floor and in this additional small room up there.
Split system, right? Split heating system for that.
I think that is a mini split up there, yes.
Okay. Just one other thing, Madam Chair, there's talk about the equipment being screened by the parapet, which they've indicated that it is. And then there was a talk about the performance standards of the code and making sure that, the sound was not an issue up there. Because there are going to be people up there in close proximity to those units up there. So what I would suggest is around those units, that low-level screening wall be acoustical tile screening wall for sound mitigation.
I think it is.
Okay, then that should be okay in terms of the performance.
Make that a condition.
Okay, so we should add that as I saw that was up on our conditions list.
Yep. I'm saying that's just, so how do we operationalize that? That's what we want to see.
Right, okay.
That be installed. Doesn't have to be any taller than what it's, so it's still
Yeah.
below the parapet. That's 42 inches, he had said, so it should be okay. That way, folks that are on that roof or in the small rooms there, the sound from all those units won't be, wow, it's really loud up here, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Okay, can you pull up that list of the 3 conditions that we might consider adding to the findings of fact?
Right. So I will say that the bicycle one, that is on there, that's on it.
Okay, so we don't
That was
need to
just a miss
include
on my
that.
part. It's fine font, but it is there.
Okay.
And I think the design professional for pointing that out to me.
Okay, and then do we think that we need to include the provide brick paver sidewalks, or is that already included through some other requirement?
Madam Chair, can I
Yes.
comment on that? So it is included in the design guidelines, but it still needs to be noted on their plans, is what I would say. So the condition would just be noted on the plans.
Okay.
Is what you could change it to. And then for this one, I don't know if we need to add a comment about the acoustical tiles or not. And then also I will point out the applicant stated that they'd increase the public benefit to 20,000 to the downtown street improvement fund.
All right, now that you've fixed all those conditions, do you want to pull up the findings of fact?
Chair,
Yes,
I have a question.
Oh,
So,
yes.
to your question,
Commissioner Henry.
so, Carl, are you suggesting that the rooftop mechanical condition be screened behind by acoustic screening? Is that?
Well, right, is that right, Director? Was that your suggestion that the acoustical
Screening
tiling?
for the rooftop units, mitigate sound through acoustical screening, yes. We'll check that at building permit.
Right, that the parapet is not enough.
The parapet's on the outside, right? So-
Right, I understand that, I'm
Yeah,
just,
the
yeah,
parapet will be there, so the other sides that are not the parapet will have this acoustic
Right.
screening, yep. Right. So that it'll absorb some of that sound and mitigate, so that the folks on the roof using that won't be like, there's 6 units, 5 units blasting away here at me, yeah. I think that would be sufficient, and it's on the roof, so it's fine, I'm not worried about ground level problem.
How would the inside, so, because the parapet's on the outside.
That's what we just said.
Okay, you
Yeah,
want to put that in?
on the sides, it's not the parapet, yeah, right.
So say that again, how should I change this?
The parapet and the screen wall has, not parapet. So is screened behind the parapet and additionally screened behind just this mechanical screen that will have some acoustic properties. I mean, we're not setting a number right here, but better than, I'll look up what we can do, yeah.
this still would have to go to city council to be approved after.
Right.
That's right.
Okay,
Less than 90 dB on the A scale on an 8-hour time weighted basis.
We understand for the purposes of this recommendation, what is meant by that, the acoustical street, we understand that. And we'll work with Corporation Council for the council approval, final approvals to make sure that it's wordsmithed properly.
okay. I just did some back of the envelope math and the square footage increase is 266%.
Oh, boy.
On that rooftop. So.
I knew I should have made the stairs bigger.
So is there an additional closet aside from the closet that can be repurposed as an elevator?
Can you bring up the floor plan? And can you zoom in a little bit?
Okay.
Excuse me. One, yeah, perfect, okay. Yeah, that's good. So you can see that mechanical closet there.
Okay.
It's, about 5 by about 5.5. And then this is the elevator box out.
Right.
And here's an elevator box out in that unit. This one is about 3 by 7.5. And then obviously each one has their stairs coming up.
Right, but those closets are already mechanical closets.
Yes. I mean, there's a tiny bit of room on the side and in
Right.
front of, but yeah, you're not gonna put much in there.
I'm just trying to picture it. So, okay,
Procedural question?
yes.
If I were to make a motion regarding this project, do we combine all three of these elements in one, or do we need to vote on the design and the consolidation separate?
And when you say design, are you speaking of design review?
Right, so there's three things, right? The PUD,
Design review would
SUP.
be separate because that's you have final authority over that. As to the recommendation on the final plan development, and as well as any conditions that you'd like to make, that would also be one vote. So the way that I see this being packaged would be 2 votes.
The plat of consolidation.
Right, and the plat would be, because that's also recommendation.
That's a recommendation.
As we usually do, that would just be kind of packed into that plan development recommendation.
Can you put the conditions back, and can you make them larger? I might be able to read.
Come on, tune up your glasses.
I know, it's.
That's good TV down there. I know. They really gotta try.
So,
Giant, like, TV. That's just there.
if I may, Madam
Yes, you may.
Chair, I'd like to move that we that we adopt the findings of fact recommending approval for a special use permit in the nature of a final plan development for a multifamily development at 734 Central Avenue, including modifications to city code and a final plat of re-subdivision with 3 conditions. One, that the petitioner demonstrate the rooftop mechanical equipment is screened behind the parapet and provide acoustical screening and complies with Article 6 performance standards. 2, that the plans depict brick paver sidewalks as required for the downtown streetscape program on an updated plan. And 3, acknowledging that the public benefit moves to a $20,000 donation to the downtown streetscape improvement fund.
Any questions from the, oh, we need a second, sorry. Can I get a second for that? Okay, Commissioner Imchuk had a seconded. Do we have any more discussion amongst ourselves? Commissioner Mantis?
I still don't think $20,000 is adequate for the increased relief being requested. I think something larger than that is appropriate.
Do you have a suggestion?
I mean, I would say double is what came to mind. They're asking for over 2 times as much square footage from what was originally requested. So from 15 to 30, I think is appropriate.
Okay. Any more comments on that from the rest of the commission?
I mean, the bulk wasn't the only variation, right?
Oh, the story, I mean, the height is.
Right, so I mean, just because we doubled the bulk doesn't mean we doubled the,
That's correct, that's correct.
yeah, I would think, right?
Right. So, yeah, they didn't increase the height and number of feet straight up, they increased the volume of that height that you've already granted, so that's a it's
we're
a good
clear-
point that the commissioner is making.
And we're clear that that extra volume is not visible from the street.
Yeah, I don't think.
That's what I was referring to before, yeah, the impact of it is important to know.
Give me one more try with this.
Vic, can you switch it over to the other computer again?
Horse maybe out of the barn,
If you heard that, Vic,
you know, in town.
Oh, it's a-
the applicant's team is trying to switch over to their computer again. Oh, he's doing it.
Well, Nate's trying to do this. Yeah, maybe not. Okay, in the interest of trying to move this forward tonight, I just have an opportunity to talk with the decision maker, and we realized that there was obviously additional variances granted with the setbacks on the upper stories and also the height, but we realized that there's an ask here. So in order to move this forward, we're willing to go up to $25,000 as the public benefit, and that's all I have to say. So,
Okay,
okay?
And an option,
Excuse me?
an option, 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. And a player to be named later in the trade, okay?
okay, so,
If I may, Madam Chair, just to put a finer point on that for the commission, just to remind everybody. So the general standard, all proposed public benefits shall be A, commensurate with the zoning relief requested by the applicant, and B, proportional to the anticipated impact of the proposed plan development on adjacent properties and land uses and on the community at large. So that's the standard.
okay,
So it's
thank you.
the entirety of that relief that triggers that. Right.
Okay, so does our motioner wish to
So if I,
amend the
if I,
motion?
well, modify it, I won't have to vote on the amendment, but strike $20,000 where I said that and substitute $25,000.
And did our seconder, agrees with that? Okay. All right, any more discussion? All right, please call the vote.
Commissioner Incheck.
Aye.
Commissioner Nanis.
Aye.
Commissioner Henry.
No.
Commissioner Mantis.
I appreciate the gesture. I would like more, but I'll go yes.
Vice Chair Kirsch.
Aye.
Chair Moore.
I will also vote aye with the caveat of, all these are always precedent setting, and so it is hard to always grant more variations is hard for us, because then it puts us in a bad position for the next person who comes, so.
Chair, I'll just say, in terms of precedential value, each parcel of property is unique, and there is no precedent. I know it's hard to say no to something once you've said yes last week or 2 weeks ago, but a justification for saying no is always that parcels of property are uniquely situated, and what works on one doesn't necessarily justify doing it on a separate parcel.
Understood, thank you.
Can I?
Point of clarification on your vote, Madam Chair? So
No, I still voted yes,
Yes, okay. So the ayes have it.
I believe so.
One dissenting vote.
One dissenting vote,
5-1.
unless you changed your mind.
No, I don't change my mind. I still think it's too high. I thought it was too high back in the spring. I think it's too high now. But to council's comment, which I agree with, but then you have attorneys such as Mr. Bernstein, esteemed Mr. Bernstein, who don't forget this stuff. And you're right, Marcus, but if we do something today, understand, and a similar situation comes up next week or next month or sometime next year, and we have an attorney who's prepared for his appearance before this commission, he will remember that. Just understand that.
Madam Chair.
With all due respect to you.
Madam Chair, if I may, first.
I'm gonna go with Director Fontaine first.
So similarly situated properties should be treated similarly if they're in the same zoning district, then the same laws apply to them. So that's what I would say to that. And so while each project must be considered on its own merits and in its own context, where you find that similarity, as I said, that should be the case. What Corporation Counsel, notwithstanding what the Corporation Counsel is saying, it's not necessarily precedential. You got to look at these particular facts of the parcel in question and what's around it and what they're proposing. So it's a very fact-specific kind of test, but yes, as staff would advise you, and we do our best to advise you in a fair and equitable manner in the land use administration. So I just wanted to be on the record as saying that, and that's what we would recommend.
All right, understood. Do you wish to speak? One last.
I want to thank everybody for the careful consideration tonight. Just to respond to Member Henry, I've been doing this a long time, and I don't recall maybe very, very few instances where I've ever brought up other projects in connection with something that I've worked on. So I don't think there's a danger of that happening with regard to this, because this is a very specific property on the ridge, on the Skokie Ridge, where there was relief granted across the street, which I had nothing to do with in that project.
Nor did we.
Yeah, I was just a citizen Bernstein on that one, okay? And so, but again, there's a lot of unique properties in Highland Park, and I'm in front of the zoning board, in front of the plan commission, and each property has some, but there's some similarities. Some are on ravines, some are on lakefront, and they do have some are on the Skokie Ridge, like this property. So some have that similarities, but there is, Highland Park is just is not a square. We're not a rectangular lot type of situation. There's a lot of unique properties which create unique situations in Highland Park.
And I don't say it to be critical.
Yeah.
Cal, honestly, any good lawyer would do the job, and you're a good lawyer.
Well, I appreciate it.
And you appear before, you appear before this commission and other similar commissions in the city of Highland Park, and I just think we need to understand, for those who don't understand, it may not be precedential, but don't think it's not going to go unnoticed if the lawyer or whoever represents the property owner does their job.
But that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
And I just want to say that also this, let's not lose sight of, this is a very good looking project on a very difficult site.
Yep.
And I think, I'm not gonna fault people for, using that penthouse as a marketing tool to upsell those two fifth floor units. I think this will be a good addition to Highland Park.
All right, thank you.
And Chair,
Motion
just
carried.
to make sure
Yeah.
that we don't forget the design.
I was about to make another motion.
Last motion carried 5-1.
Okay.
So recommending approval with the conditions as stated by Vice Chair Kirsch in the motion.
Okay, we need a second motion for the design review?
Could move that we approve the design review for 734 Central Avenue.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion on the design review? I don't think anything substantial has changed. Okay, please call the vote for the design review.
Commissioner Incheck.
Aye.
Commissioner Nanis.
Aye.
Commissioner Henry.
Aye.
Commissioner Mantis.
Aye.
Vice Chair Kirsch.
Aye.
Chair Moore.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The motion carries. This matter has been approved with regard to design review.
And is there one last thing, the final plat of consolidation?
No, that was.
That was.
That we don't, that was the first one. Is there like a third thing we need to vote on that I'm not aware of?
That was in the
Okay,
Vice Chair Kirch's motion earlier.
okay, wonderful. All right, thank you for all the good discussion on that. We have some quick other items. Approving an amended resolution setting the schedule of regular meetings of the Plan and Design Commission of the City of Highland Park for 2026. Carl, do you want to walk us through that real quick?
Yep, sure. So there was updated law from the state, and there cannot be
yeah, the commission can't have a meeting on a Tuesday where there isn't a local or general, or I don't forget the exact terminology, but there can't be an election. So that strikes the March 17th and the November 3rd dates. So, yeah, so this is the version where I just did the red line track change, and then this is the clean version that just shows those gone.
Okay,
And so, yeah, we're just looking for the commission to adopt a state compliant meeting resolution. Right.
okay, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, second?
Seconded.
Seconded, okay.
Just a question, I'm sorry. If we're losing two, did we think about putting back a July or August meeting? I mean, I don't know what the workload's gonna be
I
like.
think then we handle the way we've handled it in the past, and we call a special meeting if we know it's gonna be.
That's what we would
Dicey.
suggest. I mean, it's up to the commission and we understand it, but we'll monitor our application load and we'd make a recommendation accordingly. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I know it's making it a little more challenging, I agree, in terms of that.
Okay,
Voice vote.
all in favor? Aye. Any nays? No nays.
Wonderful. So
Anybody
we'll be
abstaining on this one?
So we'll be
Okay.
sure to post those, the meeting schedule, repost, because this is a amended one then. Yeah,
I have signed it
wonderful.
as well.
Okay.
Okay,
So-
the next item of business is, any administrative design review updates?
Let me look real quick. I don't think there are. No, I do not see any.
I don't believe so.
No.
Okay. In that case, our next meeting will not be until January 6th of 2026, which will be a regular meeting here in City Hall.
That's correct. Yes, there will be one item that I'm aware of for that. The signs will be going up on the property shortly. That's 147 Central. It's a larger residential property. They want to re-subdivide it. It's one property right now, and they want to re-subdivide it to two. I won't comment further. That's just the item that's will be on the agenda on January 6th.
Okay,
So
wonderful.
Attorney Bernstein may be back for that.
Would you get done?
Not kidding.
So yeah, I'm not going to discuss it further other than just to let you know.
No,
the
that's
item-
fine.
That's the item that's going to be on
That's
the
all we
agenda.
need to know at this point. Do you have a case briefing?
Yes.
A case briefing.
So council, last night, voted, to approve the Walton project, Mark Mueller Fulton Development's, project for 1632, 1640, and 1646 Second Street. As you recall, the commission made a recommendation, to approve. The public benefit was increased, to include $25,000, donation, a $25,000 donation to the place of remembrance, and to include a parkway landscaping landscaping improvement to the Second Street frontage, a portion of the Second Street frontage near the drop-off. So that will be, include flowers and additional plantings than just grass and trees, although it will have trees and some grass. And it will be maintained by the property owners of that property, although it's in the city right away. So that was last night, that was approved. A minor amendment to plan development at Sheridan Road, the 1950 Sheridan Road development, Park Sheridan. That was a minor amendment, did not come to you. It was not necessary to come to you. It involves some lighting that was to be included at the front of the building that's going to wash up the building but not be up lighting. So it's at an angle that's sufficient and has a sufficient shielding to prevent that from being a violation and needing to come back for a variance. Let me just see, and then there is special use permit for planned development on Deerfield Road, 932 and 942 Deerfield Road. Remember the 4-unit? That was approved. Trees were chosen, windows were discussed. And that was approved, so we're happy to see that. We also had 250 Skokie Valley Road. You may recall, this was the Kia dealership, the reuse, and change to that building. So that was approved as well. In addition, so pretty busy night. Thank you, Marcus and Carl and everybody involved. In addition, the council adopted the mayor's appointment schedule for boards and commissions, and Vice Chair Kirsch will become chair, and Commissioner Nanis will become vice chair January 1st. And so I've sent an email out about last night's meeting with links to the documents, the memo that went along with that, and the list for the commissions, all the commissions, including yours. That's all I have to report, Madam Chair.
I saw something in the news about a certain basketball great's house. Was that something that might come back to us?
Yeah, so the council, there was an information item regarding a proposed land use. The council did direct staff to come back with a referral recommendation that would go to this body, should the council decide to refer that document. So last night, there was no action taken. It was a committee of the whole that was moved to this room. So committees of the whole can't make final votes or take final action. But they did direct us to do something for their next meeting and put on their agenda to have that considered, whether or not to refer that to you all and to staff to formally consider.
All right, I'll say thank you to our two council members for stepping up into their new leadership positions. I will look forward to working with you in that aspect. Well, I do remain on the board. I will move down in the voting order somewhat.
We do appreciate your chairmanship and really enjoyed working with you in the role of chair, and we look forward to you as commissioner again.
All right, thank you.
And welcome Chair Kirsch and Vice Chair
Well,
Nanis.
thank you.
Someone's
Thank
going
you
to
all
have to
for-
make the motions.
I know, so.
That's right, that's
And I just want to say, this is, I'm so glad you're staying on the board, Chairwoman Moore,
We're getting
because
a lot of so moves.
Yes.
I think this is a great group of people. I love all the different viewpoints, and I've learned so much, and even sometimes you guys get me to change my mind, so.
And Commissioner
looking forward to
Fender was reappointed to a new term. He filled in the remaining portion of a previous commissioner's term, as you know, Commissioner Arnold, and now was reappointed. So it's the same commission.
Wonderful. All right. Any business from the public? There is no public, so I guess there's no business from them. So we'll move on to adjourn the meeting. Would somebody
Sure.
sorry, go ahead.
Can I say one? I apologize. I just want to say something real quick. We are looking at potentially a special meeting on January 13th. And so I'll be sending out an email as to availability, just trying to determine options for when the final PUD and other related requests for the 1700 Old Deerfield Road might go. So.
Yeah. Forward to hearing back from you.
I'll move adjournment.
Can I get a second? All in favor? Aye. All right, motion is, meeting is adjourned.